All right, let's talk about the Texas Longhorns. This is clearly one of the best teams in all of college football right now. They are stacked, ready to go for the 2025 season. But when you look at the data, and there's some very interesting numbers that have come out over the past few days, this Texas Longhorns team is a lot better than people think. They're incredibly dangerous. We're not talking about making another postseason run. We're talking about a dominant season where they end with a national championship. And we're not just saying that to make you feel good. The data that we've seen supports it. We'll get to that in just 1 second. But first, I'm Nick. That's Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, this Texas Longhorns team, like I mentioned, extremely talented, well coached across the board. They took over the SEC last season. Now, of course, new quarterback Arch Manning era has arrived. High expectations. And ESPN, their analytics team, has come out very recently with what they call their Football Power Index rankings ahead of the 2025 season. This is very interesting data. Let's go ahead and pull up the chart on the screen here so that way we can just talk about this. So this is the top 5 teams, the 2025 preseason Football Power Index, or FPI. You can see Texas all the way on the left there. They are the best team in the country when it comes to FPI. Then Georgia. Then the drop-offs get significant to Alabama, Ohio State, and then significantly to Penn State. Texas significantly higher than everybody else. Again, this is a very good Longhorns team. For people who aren't familiar, of course, with FPI, it's this advanced analytics model that ESPN uses. They basically look at the talent on the roster, the way where it was after the season ended, who left, went to the NFL draft, transferred, whatever, who's come in, where there's volatility, where there's new starters. A lot of times FPI, in fact, it's specifically designed if you lose your quarterback and have a new quarterback, that's going to really hurt your rankings. So the fact that Texas is still so much better than everybody else is a great sign for them. Obviously, Ewer's gone, Arch Manning taking over the helm there. So Texas's FPI ranking, really good stuff here. But it's not just that they're good when it comes to this season. It's that they're historically good. And here's what I mean. Let's go ahead and go into our next chart here. So this is the national champion preseason FPI going back the past 4 seasons. You can go 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, last year, of course. So you have 2021 and 2022, that's the Georgia Bulldogs. And then 2023, that was Michigan. 24 was Ohio State. So we're not talking about like Cinderella stories. We're talking blue blood programs, great recruiting classes. All of these teams had a lot of talent coming into those seasons. Here were their FPI rankings. Now let's go into our next chart here. This is Texas's FPI ranking added to the end of it. Look at this gap, folks, in terms of talent, just pure analytics, unbiased talent between what Texas is heading into the season with, and this is counting the hit that's against them because they changed quarterbacks, Ewers to Manning, compared to the last 4 national champions. Blue blood programs. Ohio State, they're going after a national title every year. Michigan under Harbaugh, stacked team, winning Big Ten 3 straight years. Then you have Georgia Bulldogs, obviously, as Texas fans know, as everyone knows, one of the top programs in the entire country, year in and year out. And yet Texas, going into the 2025 season, is significantly better than all of them, right? This is what the data is saying. Nick's not saying that. Andrew's not saying that. The raw, unbiased analytical data is saying this Texas team is so much better than every single team, not just this season, but the national championships going back the past 4 years. This has a chance to be a very special season for the Longhorns. Obviously, they have to prove it on the field. They have to execute on Saturdays. This is a veteran group in a lot of positions. Coach Sark knows what he's doing. He had a lot of great hires across the board, kind of on the fringes there to improve the staff. Made some really good moves in recruiting, but this is generally a veteran bunch. I think when we look back 5, 6, 7 years from now, I know it sounds early. It's a prediction. I get all that. But this Texas Longhorns team has a chance to be a historically good, historically special squad, and the data supports it. This looks like it's going to be a very unforgettable season, I think, for the positive for the Texas Longhorns. Miles, I know you've got a few thoughts on this, but first, Texas fans, in the comment section below, look, obviously, this data should make you feel good, right? But I understand high expectations. That comes a lot of demands. Like, hey, you got to step up. You got to execute. What's one player that you think is going to have a massive season, a guy who's really going to step up and execute that no one's really talking about, like an under-the-radar breakout star? Give us in the comment section below a Longhorns player that you think is going to be a key contributor that isn't getting the press right now. We want to hear from you guys again in the comment section below. But Miles, over to you now. What do you think of the Texas Longhorns and specifically all this data as we get ready for the 2025 campaign?
Yeah, Nick, I think when you look at what Texas did, I mean, this is a team where if you crunch the numbers, if you look at everything going on, I mean, whether or not you're a believer in Arch Manning, I personally think he's going to be a good quarterback. But if you're a believer that Is he going to be significantly better than Quinn Ewers was? I think there's a possibility, but also there's a lot of a lot to go on. There's some big shoes to fill at a time, so I think it's really interesting here. But when you look at the data and you crunch the numbers and you see Texas's FPI in this preseason, I think there's a lot to look at because you look at teams with their football power index, what they're able to do. Ohio State, you kind of got to look at the year before you go to the next one because obviously the team who wins it all is going to be really high in some categories. But you look, Ohio State before this 2024 season, they were top 3 at the end of last season. Then you go ahead and you look at Texas, what they were able to do at the end of 2024, they were number 2. So they're right on the heels of Ohio State. So I think going forward, it's not crazy that Texas, they gained a lot of talent. There's switch up. Ohio State, they lose a quarterback. It's not necessarily clear. There's just some questions. There's a couple of options. I think they're going to be able to tell you who their starting quarterback is going to be right now, but there wasn't like a 100% succession plan like at Texas. When Texas loses Quinn Ewers, it was no question Arch Manning was going to step in and be that next guy. So they got the biggest problem figured out. Ohio State, not so much. They're working on it. Not really 100% sure. I'd say they're probably like 85% sure who the guy's going to be, but it wasn't 100% sure there. So Texas overall, with having such a great recruiting class, with having such good transfers, and already having their quarterback situation figured out, I think it just makes sense that this is a team who is set up the most likely to come in and dominate this season and show how good they were. They were really good last year. We saw what they were able to do. They got really close. It was a great season. I know people don't like how it ended, but you can't, deny it was a really strong season for Texas. You look back in the history books 5 years from now and be like, that was a year Texas. That was a really great team that we had. There's a lot of good stuff going on there, but I think it's going to get better and better in these rankings. It just shows that this Texas team, something special is building. They've been doing a really good job for a long time now. They've been doing a great job recruiting. We saw that evidently this year, but this team has stacked up, and I think it seems crazy to say this. Quinn Ewers' years was still in the part of the progression of the buildup. They weren't at their full power. I think with this new era, the Arch Manning era, however long that's going to last for at the quarterback position, it has now culminated. This is the spike, and I think that's why you don't see the quarterback change really hurt this team because the talent around them, everybody they're able to bring in is already getting better and better and better. And each year they're able to progress, not regress. And I think Texas set themselves up now. We've seen the data. This team is something special, and I would not be surprised at all. I would be very surprised if they don't at least make it to the college football playoff national championship game this year. But I really think they have a really good chance to win it all. In that regard as well.
Yeah, and I think you brought up something I think is really important here is that a lot of their top contenders, when you look at FPI and generally opinions across the board, Georgia, Ohio State, and some people throw Alabama in that mix. I think they're kind of a sleeping tiger. This is a very talented Crimson Tide squad. All of those guys have question marks at the quarterback position. Very similar to Texas. They got to find their next generation signal caller. Texas is the only one that has sort of that already decided. It's Arch Manning. He has some experience. He's a superstar in the making by all accounts and all reports. He will be their guy. Every other program, like you mentioned, even Ohio State, they're 85% leaning one direction. Alabama has a heavy favorite in Ty Simpson. Georgia, Carson Beck, obviously, has gone down to Miami in his own right. They're going to have a new quarterback. All of those other programs, they still have some things to resolve, some things to figure out, some things to question. Do they have the right quarterback? Are they going to have to make quarterback changes during the regular season? A lot of volatility there, a lot of question marks. Texas, a lot fewer. And I think one of the things that really matters is that when you have a program that's as talented and as ready to win as Texas, it's do you have volatility? Do you have consistency at key areas? And quarterback obviously being the most important. I think Arch Manning being the predestined heir apparent, right? He was the backup last season, got a lot of playing time, did a lot of good things, some things to improve on, like any young player, but certainly trending in a good direction because that question is so resolved and so finalized and said, this is who we are, this is what we're going to be. You have that stability. The entire locker room, offense, defense, special teams, understands who's going to be the leader in terms of the quarterback position. They know what Coach Sark and his staff, what they're looking for. Everybody's on board. It is set up for this Texas Longhorns team to be absolutely special. They've got the talent, they've got the strategy, they got the experience, they got the first year of the SEC, and they did great in that, by the way. But they got the first year completely under their belt. There's not a lot of wild cards. They got a first year deep extended playoff run. They figured out the dynamics of that, all the logistics and practicing and going through things like that and the different scheduling and all of the challenges that's presented. They are ready and 100% set for a massive postseason run this year that I agree with you. I think making the national championship game is sort of the expectation, and I would put them as the undeniable, extremely heavy favorite to win it all. In fact, I'll go on the record right now. I think the way it currently sits, the way the teams look across the board, this is an undefeated national championship team right now, the way it looks. 2025 Texas Longhorns.